everyone, and welcome to this MEF Connect session in conversation with Facebook. I'm Tim Green, and I'm the features editor of the MEF, and I'm pleased to be your moderator for the next 45 minutes. Now, as we've been hearing all day, we're nearing the end of the first phase of business messaging. That first phase was mostly one way and nearly all on a single channel, SMS. And this new era will be different. It will be rich, it will be conversational, and it won't be on one channel. Instead, consumers will choose their favorite message platform from a range of options. And it will be up to the enterprise and their messaging partner to support every one of these channels. Now, for a huge number of these end users, that channel will be Facebook Messenger, given that 1.3 billion people use it every day. So it's essential that every brand knows what's possible on Messenger, how to get started, best practices, and so on. So with that, it's rather convenient that I have two experts here who know a great deal about this, and they are Ankur Prasad, who is the Director of Product Marketing at Facebook Messenger, and Becca de Schepper, who's the Senior Manager of Digital Services at Techstyle, which is a live customer of Facebook Messenger, which is great. So before we crack on with the conversation, just to remind you, this is a 45-minute session. It will be recorded, so you can watch it again or share with colleagues later. I'd love you to ask some questions, so please, you should know how to do this already, but there's a text box umbrella that you can ask your questions from, and I'll leave around 15 minutes at the end to get to those questions. So with that, I'll kick off the discussion. So very briefly, Ankur, can you just give us a quick catch up on who you are?
Sure. Firstly, thanks for having me, and I'm really excited to be here and have this conversation. To quickly introduce myself, as Tim called out, I lead product marketing for Facebook's Messenger business, and I'm sure we're going to get into a bunch of that. So my background is several years in technology companies, and especially on the product marketing and the product management side of it. So done a bunch of roles on that front. And then, if I just took a walk down memory lane, it's been everything from enterprise products all the way to apps and games, and now messaging.
Great. And Becca, I know you're in LA, but you don't look like you're in LA. You look like you're in the Scottish Highlands or something. But anyway, maybe you can tell us a bit about Techstyle, because it's great to have a customer. So tell us a little bit about what you do there and what the business is.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Tim. So I'm Becca de Schepper. I'm the senior manager here at Techstyle. I've been here about 3 years, and actually I walked into Techstyle as they were already progressing with their messenger strategy. And I've been with Techstyle for 3 years, but my background has been in 10+ years in the service and operational side, specifically with customer service events and products. And Techstyle Fashion Group is actually an entire organization that has 5 major brands within its umbrella. And my team actually does the strategy and implementation of automation and handover for all 5 brands. So I'm excited to talk about rich media, Facebook Messenger. We've been early adopters, so I'm excited to share what we have. Perfect.
Okay, well, Ankur, let's go back to you. So just bring us up to date. How long has Facebook Messenger for Business been around? How are you doing so far in terms of numbers and engagement, businesses, end users, and so on?
Sure. And we've been around for a few years, so it's really good to see the progress that we've been making, and just feedback we've been getting from customers and partners. But at the highest level, we think about business messaging on 2 fronts. So one is, how can we make it really easy for people to communicate with businesses using Messenger and our tools and services? And then on the business front, we want to help businesses respond to these messages that they're getting from people, but also drive key results for the businesses, be it sales, reducing costs, or whatever is important for them at that time. And this becomes really important because on the people front, what we have learned over the years and what the research says is that people prefer messaging over legacy channels such as email or phone calls when trying to contact and communicate with businesses. In fact, 63% of people do so. And so it's really important for us to help these people communicate with businesses where they are online. So if they're spending time on Facebook, they can go to the Facebook page and click the message button to reach out to these businesses. But even if people are discovering these businesses via the website of the businesses, we have tools and services to let them communicate with these businesses using Messenger right from the very website. And then on the business side, like we talked about, there are over 180 million businesses of all sizes, small businesses all the way to the world's largest enterprises that use our services today to communicate with their customers. And what we do is we build a whole set of tools and services to make it easy and free for them. And we also have a really rich ecosystem of partners who build services on top of a platform to help set businesses.
So briefly tell us what the onboarding process is like for a business that wants to join Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, sure. I think it really depends upon who the business is, but we build a bunch of free and easy to use tools to help businesses get started ASAP and very, very quickly, right? So the first thing is obviously having a page on Facebook, which is quick and easy to get started with. And then if you're a small mom and pop store and you're doing a whole bunch of things for your business, what we do is we build out these easy to use tools. I think the easiest way to think about this is we work backwards from the pain points of these kind of businesses. And so going back to the small business example, one of the things that we know is that it's really important for these businesses to be responsive to the messages that they're getting from people. And they're always really busy trying to get a whole bunch of things done. So we built out this tool called Business Inbox in Messenger. And what it does is these small business owners can essentially toggle between their personal accounts for Messenger, which they have on their phone, and their business accounts, and quickly respond to these customers. In general, responsiveness is the difference between a sale or a disgruntled customer. So we try to do that and give it to them on the go. But at the same time, if it's an e-commerce website and a lot of people are discovering them via their website, they can use our web chat plugin and integrate it so that people can contact them via their website just using Messenger. So that's a different kind of pain point that you can think about. And at the highest level, especially for the larger businesses, and I'd love to hear from Becca on that front as well, is we have this rich ecosystem of partners that some of these businesses can use and solve for different pain points through what these partners are building on top of our platform.
Okay, so Becca, what was your journey to discovering that there was this opportunity to get close to your customers with this channel?
Well, I love that it's called a journey, because in true journey fashion, there's lots of different things that you go through, and our journey is never ending, especially when you talk about technology. But when we analyze things, and this is at the very front of before you even take your first step, you have to look at the three big things. So your people, your process, and your technology. The three things that go into any strategy implementation that you have, especially on the operational side. And for us, it was about identifying the technology, because that should be the most painless part of everything, or the easiest part. So if you have a technology partner that makes your strategy easy to implement, then you're already taking the right steps. So locating what you want to do, who you want to work with, is so vital to creating a better strategy. And when we started, I actually came into an earlier adoption of Messenger that was great for our learning, but it didn't enhance the experience. So when you're looking at what you want to do, what is the purpose of you using Facebook Messenger, you really want to start off as, what is your goal? So for us, it's always about creating a premium member experience. And what does that mean for our members? For us, it's managing expectations, right? So like Ankur said, the expectation now is about getting rapid service, but also on the member's time. So you have to take in consideration convenience for the members, what we call our customers, and taking that convenience and meeting them on their channel of choice. So we found that a lot of people, especially for our brands, especially for our large brands like a Fabletics, our Facebook community is massive and it's huge and they're vocal. So we wanted to be there. We wanted to make it convenient. Creating entry points to reach out to us was a big key point for us. So where do we get them to bring them in if they're trying to contact us? And then from there, it was deciding, well, what do we do first? it's not just enough to have somebody on Facebook Messenger answering these questions, because then you're going to start building conversation volume, and that's the opposite of what we want to do. So that's when we had automation come in. We located our low-hanging fruit, to so to say, the easy wins, which is FAQs. And then within FAQs, you get a lot of rich learnings. What kinds of questions are being asked? How do we want to answer these questions? And then that can kind of dictate what your next flow will be and what your next steps are. I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed when you're starting out, but as long as you can identify, okay, these are things that people are coming to us about, how can we easily answer them without involving an agent side, but still using that rich media format that we get for Facebook Messenger.
Okay, well, we'll come back to virtual agents or bots or whatever you want to call them a bit later. Ankur, is that chime with you? Are you finding that most of your customers are starting with a customer care story rather than maybe lead gen or marketing or whatever?
So I think it really depends upon the customer. And what we do is we build out products and services to support all forms of customer, all the key milestones throughout the customer journey. So be it lead gen, be it driving sales or commerce, or be it customer care. So, I can, if you'd like, I can just jump into a couple of them. But
Sure.
since Becca already talked about some of the customer service cases, let me kick off with lead gen. In lead gen, if you look at the industry, what's really important is to be able to reach the right set of customers at scale, but then sign up these leads very efficiently. And so we have this product which is called click-to-messaging ads for lead gen. And just to give everybody a quick overview, when someone clicks on that ad, instead of sending them to a website to fill out a form, it actually kicks off a messaging thread with the business, which could either be with a live agent who's asking questions and gathering leads, or it could be an automated experience, which is rich and interesting for someone to fill out their information and sign up for whatever service they're looking at. And this works really well in specific instances. In fact, just to take an example, Hyundai Australia, if I recall the numbers correctly, was able to generate leads at 24% cheaper than previous campaigns that they had run. So that's an example of how we use lead gen. On the commerce side, just to continue that train of thought, it's really important for us to facilitate these conversations between people and businesses, especially when asking questions and getting more information is going to help these businesses drive sales. And if you just think about how you shop in the physical world, right, or the offline world, walk into a store, you ask the associate questions, you learn a bit more and then you buy. And I think that's the role which messaging really plays when it comes to online commerce. And that's what we try to facilitate. I kind of talked about our web chat plugin, and that's just one of the key products that really help people contact businesses, especially when they're considering products, want to learn more about it, and help drive sales. And another example, this is a global product. So just taking an example from Thailand, Organiqua, which is a restaurant chain, right when things started to shut down due to the pandemic, they were able to generate 11,000 sales in just 30 days using some of our products around that. So there's just a couple of examples beyond customer care, but obviously Techstyles and Becca have been doing some really good best practice work on that front.
So let's go back to you, Becca, then. So you just described the sort of low-hanging fruit of the FAQ. Have you moved on to more to other kinds of applications and lead gen, for example?
Yeah, so exploring that, especially as shops gets more and more important and more popular, you're being able to identify a lot of locations where people have questions or they want to talk to the brands, and Messenger is now being able to be utilized for those experiences. So now we can insert, even with shops for Facebook, now you can have a push to Messenger button. When you're pushing to Messenger, you're keeping them in the channel that they prefer, and you're going to see significant less drop off when you're keeping them in that channel. So if you can keep that conversation going and stop having to open up a new window, that's great. And for us, we have a lot of nuances. And I think once you get through the FAQs, which is answering questions that you already know about your company, then it's going to get more intricate. So what are some things that separate you from another brand or company? And for us, we have a very unique membership model. And with that raises a bunch of different activities and processes that the members have to go through. One of those being there's a skip the month option that happens at the beginning of the month. That's usually a really high contact driver for us. So including automation within Facebook Messenger, where they're already going, where they're already asking these questions, they want this process handled, we can contain that all in Facebook Messenger. They don't have to go to the site to complete a simple experience. And that leaves them with a more positive representation of the brand, which equals loyalty from our members. So creating those experiences where you can come in, you can manage your account all within Messenger has been huge for us. And we're actually really excited to roll out more of this kind of membership automation within Facebook Messenger.
So can you just tell us about how you create a bot to answer some of those questions, and what the process was, and what impact it's had on the speed of answering questions and the length of sessions and so on?
Yeah, so, I mean, I wish I could tell you that we created the bot all in-house and it was born, but it's all about partnering, finding the right team to work with. And it was very easy for us because we work with a company called Snaps.io, and they're actually preferred partner with Facebook. So right there, it's kind of like you're getting 2 in 1. So we already have the relationship with Facebook. We have this relationship with our automation partner. They're working together. So there's nothing from us, from brand side, that we have to, no holes or loops we have to jump through, something to get preferred or whitelisted. It's all handled by our partner. And that's a lot of ease off of my shoulders, because now I can focus on the strategy. And for us, it's always about creating a better experience. And every flow that we create, we have like an MSAT or a CSAT bet. We can just quickly say, was this helpful? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Now that's something that's very normal for a Facebook Messenger user, is using those buttons and using the emojis. And the fact that Facebook makes it easy, because the buttons are so natural, they're so easy use, members or customers don't want to type out everything they use. So it's looking at those buttons, looking at those clicks, what's working, what's not, and then being able to build out flows from that. And flows are essentially just ideas that you give to technical people, say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, build those out. And it's very easy to do that if you have a partner that's already working with Facebook.
So Ankur, how do you communicate with enterprises who are coming into the Facebook Messenger space and maybe they haven't had any experience of automation before? How do you onboard them with that and introduce them to the idea, or maybe to partners that can help them?
Yeah, I think the way Becca described it just earlier on is as good as it gets. And especially when you think about mid-sized to larger companies, we have this really rich ecosystem of partners that are building on top of our platform and meeting the unique needs of all different kinds of businesses, right? So I think a good way to think about this is what's going on in the world today. People are communicating with these businesses on all types of channels, right? So they're sending them emails, they're calling them, they are sending them messages on Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, and albeit any other messaging channels, right? Texting them. And from a business's perspective, especially if you're a call center agent, it's not feasible to have different devices and continue to switch devices or programs or software to manage this communication effectively. You want a consolidated view of all of the communication that you're getting. And that's what some of these partners do at the very basic level, which is they consolidate all of the communication that's coming in, and then also let these live call center agents manage communication through various channels that their customers are on. So that's number one. But then what these partners are also doing, like Becca was talking about, is building cool experiences on top of us. So we talked about Snaps and how they have an amazing automation layer, and how it is really easy for Techstyles to figure out what they wanted to build, but work with our preferred partner to do so. But just to take an example, some of the other ones, I'm just talking to another partner, live person, and they do a whole bunch of things. But one of the things that really stood out for me, and by the way, just to give you a bit of background, I started with Facebook 5 months ago. So I'm also learning the space and getting through, learning about business.
You're doing very well so far, Ankur.
Thanks for that. So yeah, so my mind was blown when I was just talking to some of our partners, and Live Person, which I was just talking about, they have this really cool automated analytics layer. So imagine you're getting messaging across all your channels, right? What they're able to do for a brand is you can using NLP, you can analyze the information that you're getting, and you can get to the layer where if you're a hotel chain, you can say that 70% of what I'm getting is related to poor room service. And it happens. And then that really saves you time and effort to figure out where the opportunities are and where the risks are at your business. So that's just another value added service to what some of our partners are building on top of Messenger. ManyChats is another example. I was just talking to them a little while ago. And what they have done, amongst many other things, is build out an easy drag and drop experience more for the smaller and medium-sized businesses. So you don't need to be a developer to build out these automation and FAQ flows. You can just use their intuitive experience to do so. And you can run ads directly from their platform as opposed to going to Facebook or elsewhere to do so. So once again, consolidation of everything you want to do in one front. So to answer your question quickly, Tim, the bottom line is there's a bunch of cool partners, and a way to onboard and get started is to just figure out what your use cases are and then matching up with the right partners to help you out.
Yeah, so and just to add to that, Ankur, you made a good point. We always look at, like, the richer the media, the richer the communication, the richer the analytics that you're getting. You're going to be able to tap into insights that you've never even been able to before. And with Facebook too, you're already getting some identifying demographics that we can work with. And if you couple that with different departments, so I'm focused on the service side, but there's huge gains here from brand to marketing to even media, that using Facebook Messenger, you're going to be able to get a lot more insights than you would have even from a live chat or a phone experience, because of that asynchronous ongoing conversation you're having with the person. And you can personalize it. You can start looking at journey mapping. There's just so many endless opportunities when you start looking at the analytics side.
Can you give us an example of how you deployed some of those analytics to improve the experience, or either in real time or for the future?
Yeah, I think something that's really relevant now is the pandemic, right? So we learned a lot from the FAQs, just having rich free text available as well. People had a lot of questions about how the pandemic impacted shipping and how it impacted our warehouses. They had a lot of ethical questions that were with it. So we brought those questions, we raised to the brands, and the brands were able to create campaigns and awareness that they had no idea that our members even wanted to know. And with that, we found a lot of positive engagement with, and that actually drove sales to some extent when you have an experience where we're preemptively providing customer questions and answers, but really they're not that preemptive because we got those insights from the members themselves, and we're able to turn around those experiences pretty quickly.
Ankur, so you talked in your last answer about different channels and making those available to customers in a seamless way. How integrated is what you do with WhatsApp and Instagram and other Facebook-owned properties? Is there what kind of lines of division are there?
Yeah, I think that's like a really good question. And a good way to think about this is we're always working backwards from the needs of our customers and our partners. So if you just think about some of the services that we offer, right? We recently announced Shops, which is going to be really important for Facebook. And for everybody, it's basically virtual storefronts that you can get up and running quickly to sell products online via Facebook. So with Shops, we know that it's really important for businesses to be able to communicate with customers across all of our family of apps or messaging services. So we built that into Shops. So you can use Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram direct messaging in order to do that. Similarly, with the ad products that we were talking about just a little while ago, our click-to-messaging ad products, where someone clicks on an ad and instead of going to a website, it starts off a messaging thread. Once again, businesses can decide whether they want to send that to a WhatsApp thread, to a messaging thread, or to an Instagram direct thread. And they know their customers best, so they can set up these campaigns as they need to do so. So again, pretty good integration. There's also work to be done on other fronts. So there are products and services that are Messenger only and WhatsApp only. Our chat plugin that we talked about is an example where if someone integrates that, they can communicate with people on Messenger. As I'd say, like, we try to give our customers the best possible experience, and then try and figure out where are areas where we need to invest more.
So Becca, are you using WhatsApp and Instagram as well? Conversations with your customers?
Yeah, we on Instagram specifically, it's blowing up, especially for some of our younger demographics. For some of our brands, Instagram's a preferred channel. So while we handle it now, it's all agent first. There's no automation on our Instagram DMs. But as we see the volume increasing over time, it's only a matter of time before we start utilizing automation on there and start using kind of that rich environment that we already have established for Messenger. And the best part about it is that because it already exists on Messenger, we can replicate that experience. It's essentially just cloning it for Instagram DMs. Your experiences shouldn't vary too much. It shouldn't be like a completely different experience on WhatsApp than it is on Messenger. You want to create familiarity. You want to create expectations with your customer base. Don't change it up too much. Change it up for your markets, yes, but don't change the experience that differs from channel to channel.
Ankur, so you mentioned shopping there, Facebook Shops. What's the latest on payments? Because obviously the dream scenario is that Becca's talked very eloquently about keeping people in the same channel, and obviously the ultimate there is keeping them there, but also getting them to pay there and shop there. So where are we at in terms of integrating payment?
Yeah, sure. To just set the context, supporting key milestones throughout the customer journey is really important to us, right? And Becca talked about how there's cost to channel switching and keeping everything in messaging in the channels that people prefer. Today, partners who are integrated with us can use payments via our web view. And secondly, we have a native payments system available in Thailand. As I said, we recognize the importance and we're working towards it. So hopefully we'll continue to make progress on this front.
Becca, is that something that's in the pipeline for you guys?
That's like a very small portion of what the expansion would be. So yes, channel of choice, it's so important. When we say that, we don't necessarily mean keeping them on that channel. We mean meeting them wherever they want to be
exactly.
met. So whether they're going from WhatsApp to Instagram to Facebook, if they prefer to do that kind of juggle, we need to be able to say, hi, Ankur, hi again on Messenger, hi again on WhatsApp, hi again on Instagram, and not making it feel like you're talking to 3 different teams. Somebody should be able to pick up the conversation from WhatsApp and pick it up just like it was still on the same channel, Instagram DM, should they choose to reach out to us on there. And being able to identify those members, that's going to be more and more of a strategy for us, because someone who's Ankur 1000 on Instagram probably isn't Ankur Prasad on Facebook. We have to be able to connect those two. But that's a solve that we're going to have to be working with Facebook, because they own all of those integrations. We can start working on tying them together and bringing them back to our CRM tool as well.
Becca, what about discovery? Because obviously Ankur's talked about things like the messaging, add for messaging products and so on, and inserting a link on web pages. But there's lots of different possibilities. So what have you found about the way that customers discover that they can talk to you on this channel?
Well, we found that most of it is organically coming to us. So most of the conversations that you're going to get are people just finding the Messenger button themselves or going through DM and hitting that DM button. But that's just one organic entryway. We want to start conversations with our members as well, maybe proactively asking them to opt in so they can get Wizmo updates on Facebook Messenger or DM or WhatsApp, whatever that entry point will be. We want to create the most sensical entry points that we can. So putting them on opt-in, on confirmation pages where it feels natural. So yes, I'm getting my order. I want to know how this progressed. I want to know where's my order. You can opt in on that confirmation page. It doesn't feel like an ad. It doesn't feel like we're goading you into some marketing scheme. You want updates, you'll get your service updates if you opt in. We have that on the confirmation screen, on our emails. We have them on our e-com experience, and we're looking to start integrating it as well in our ads. So we have push to messenger ads. We should be able to create automated flows that keep that conversation going so we can start engaging more and more, whether it be for marketing or for service related. It's about creating as much sensical entry points as possible.
Ankur, what about you? You've got a view of the entire enterprise customer base there. What are they doing in terms of discovery?
Yeah, I think there are many ways to discover brands on Facebook. And in general, what we try and do is create these entry points or avenues based on where people are spending their time online. So to Becca's point earlier, a lot of people are on Facebook and on Instagram, and they're discovering these brands there and then messaging them via the message button on these Facebook pages. But there are other points as well. So you can go to Messenger and search for a brand and discover the experience that the brands have created on Messenger. There's also what we talked about, the click-to-message ads, which for many businesses becomes the primary entry point, especially when they're trying to drive sales or discovery of their brands and products. So you set up your ads, people click on it, start talking to you, start discovering you, and so on. But at the same time, we talked about off Facebook entry points as well. And so if you're an e-commerce site trying to sell something, once again, going back to the chat plugin, brands can integrate that and they can kick off those conversations with you right from your own website. We're also, in fact, trying to go beyond the online world, so offline. So what are some ways we can help people kick off conversations offline? So in the form of QR codes or other ways where they can easily kick off these conversations. So all in all, online, offline, focusing on where the customers are, and then also giving brands additional tools such as click-to-message ads to accelerate discovery.
So you mentioned the in-app option of searching there. What's the user experience there? I mean, if there are, I think you said, I can't remember how many brands you said there are on Facebook Messenger, but if I'm in the app and I want to search, what does that experience look like, and how can I filter the results and so on?
Yeah, sure. So I think I'm just going to take a personal example, but I'm not going to state the brand since I don't know if you're approved for case studies or not yet.
Okay,
yeah. For example, if you go to a retailer and make a purchase, right? And then you want to know what the status of your order. I was actually doing that a couple of days ago. So I went to Messenger and searched for the brand. And what it did was it kicked off that automated conversation with that particular brand right on Messenger. And then, it went through the entire automated experience where I identified myself and I said, hey, where's the status of my order? And on Messenger, it pinged me, this is where your order is, this is when you're going to get. So that was like a pretty cool and easy experience. I just searched for the brand on Messenger, kicked off a conversation with them.
But if I'm searching for Techstyle, then it's quite obvious. I'll type in Techstyle and there I am. But if I'm interested in buying sneakers, or you would say in the US, or trainers, as we'd say here in the UK, and I just type in, where do I start? How do I find the brand that is right for me?
I think one is Facebook search. You can search for sneakers. You can do the same thing on Messenger. The other is just going online and searching and discovering the brand's page, like we talked about, and then messaging them there. So once again, I keep going back to it. It's basic organic search, but totally dependent on where you are and then what you're looking for.
Becca, it was interesting to hear Ankur talk about offline discovery. Is that something that you've used at all?
Yeah, so in our CRM emails, we have that opt-in for Wismo, which is a huge driver for us. So where's my order is one of our biggest contact drivers. So being able to have these opt-in experiences, especially if you're going to transfer that to an automated one and keep that contained, that's going to be huge benefits for you from a financial savings side. We're kind of playing around with ideas of where our members are as well. Is there an opportunity to go to kind of those voice assistants as well and bring them into an experience that they feel comfortable with? I think the exploring phase, especially when you look at offline options, those are going to be the ones that are going to give you really immediate gains, I would think, because when we did it through email, it was just such a natural progression. They are expecting a confirmation email. They're expecting to be updated along the way. And for us to be like, here's an option for you that keeps you in a messenger asynchronous experience versus anything that's one-to-one ending, they're going to prefer and they're going to keep those conversations going. And that's just opportunities for a brand.
Okay, well, we've had some questions come in from the audience. Ankur, I'm going to come back to you. I probably should have asked this at the beginning, but what's the regional reach of Messenger for Business, and where are the top countries?
I think it's a global product, and that's what we see across a family of apps. Different apps have prevalence in different regions, and it's businesses are going to use products based on where their customers are, and that's kind of what we see across the world as well. So obviously on the Messenger side, areas where, especially in Southeast Asia, US, Europe, these are areas which are really important for us, and we are serving different needs for different customers. But then if you look at WhatsApp and Instagram, you can figure out which are the countries where these particular messaging apps are popular. And, in the end, businesses are trying to get discovered by folks and also communicate with folks on the apps that they're on. So I think that's the easiest way to think about the split.
So Messenger for Business is available wherever Messenger is available, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. What about what's the business model for Facebook on this? Does companies have to pay for any of the aspects of the service, or is this just a way of keeping Facebook's network robust and strong?
Yeah, I think our tools and services are free to use. And what we want to do is create value for both Facebook users as well as businesses who are using us. So we have a bunch of first-party tools. We talked about some of them, like Business Inbox and Messenger, a lot of the automation tools that we have built for that, all free and easy to use. Our APIs are free as well. And then our partners are building on top of that, have their own business models when they work with their customers. And the only paid instance of it is the click-to-message ads. And what we have seen is when businesses realize that there is value in kicking off conversations with customers, which we think is actually pretty intuitive and important, then there's value in paying for ads, which will help them be discovered by customers and kick off conversations with them. So that's how we monetize.
Okay. Becca, a viewer wants to know about your approach to operationalizing chatbots. I presume that means, how do you make them go live? How do you manage them, and so on?
Cautiously excited is what I would say. So we're a technology company first, so we don't do anything without rigorous testing. So we have 5 umbrella companies within Techstyle, and we didn't launch all of them at once. We wanted to get key learnings, so we launched it slowly and subtly with one brand, got a lot of key learnings from that, and then expanded to the other ones. But when I say cautiously, this was probably a quarter-long experience of just gathering the information, figuring out what works, what doesn't, A/B testing different routes too on flows. But other than that, like the going forward with automation, it really starts with strategy, and then the implementation process is fairly easy. That's the best part of it. And then from there, it's getting the analytics that you get from it to decide what next, or what do we have to fix.
Ankur, another questioner wants to know about the impact of COVID. Becca mentioned this earlier, but have you seen a change in the kind of use cases as a result of it?
Yeah, and we talked about some of these use cases earlier on as well, right? It's intuitive to know that when people are at home, then they are going to want to shop online and they're going to want to communicate with businesses online. And in general, even beyond Facebook, everyone's seeing that a lot of businesses are coming online and accelerating the digital transformations. From our perspective, what we are seeing is that as more and more people increase their online activities, businesses want to follow, and they want to be able to serve these needs online. The other thing which we are noticing, and again, from especially since the last few months, is that we want to try and bring the best of the offline world online as well. So aside from just going online and shopping or looking at products and things like that, can we bridge the communication gap, which was already happening before, but can we bridge the gap even more and accelerate this, where people are able to communicate with businesses using our services? And I think that's where it may have sparked an even quicker transition to this world.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a tricky question in here about going back to payments. It's a kind of question that I think probably the whole industry is wrestling with really, which is that if you start accepting payments inside Messenger, then obviously Messenger is an app. It's a Google app or it's an iOS app. And then there's the question of sharing revenue back to Apple or to Google. And obviously, this is a very hot topic in the market at the moment with what is happening with the games community. And so, Ankur, I don't know if you've given any thought to how that might play out.
Well, the short answer is we don't have an answer right now, and a lot of work and thinking needs to get around that. But I completely understand the question coming from the apps and games space, and I know exactly what you're referring to. So hopefully over time, not just us, but everybody can figure it out.
Yeah. Becca, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're partnered with Facebook right now, but it really is for us, especially for my department, we're typically a cost saving driver. We're not necessarily a revenue generating one.
Sure.
So with the opportunity that Shops has, because it's not something that you have to invest in, there's a lot of opportunities where you can start making some great ROI. We're really excited to use the rich media that you get in Shops. So if someone has a specific question about a pair of leggings and it's this pair of leggings, you can create a push to messenger button about it in your shop, and that will carry over to the agent experience. The agent will see the product that they're looking at. They have some reference, they have some context, and we can complete a sale within Facebook Messenger. And that's actually something that we can prove out. We can say, hey, this conversion was dedicated from our team over here on the service side, where a lot of times we might have a ton of conversion happening because we convince people to buy something, but they leave that experience and they go to e-com, and we have no way to prove out, hey, this is a job that we converted. So this is giving us huge conversion within Shops to prove out an ROI opportunity. Well, we could be a generator for that, and that's really exciting for services.
In terms of the different departments within Techstyle, I mean, how engaged is this something that you, Becca, look after, or does the whole company use this platform?
Yeah, so I'm a part of what we call expert services. So I work with all of the brands, and within each brand, there's a whole team, right? A dedicated team to that specific brand. They have marketing, they have initiatives. But because I'm a shared service, I get to kind of oversee a lot of these brand initiatives and launch them all at the same time and get these learnings individually. Because we have a membership model that spans all of those brands, operationally, it's not that different. So we can launch one thing on one brand, change some of the copyright, and change some of the very subtle nuances. But where I'm able, my team, GMS to Global Memo Services, is able to apply all of these different technology and processes across all of our brands, which makes it very easy for me. It's a job that I don't take lightly.
And Ankur, what do you find from the enterprises that are approaching you? Is it certain personas within those enterprises? Is it the marketing guy or the biz dev girl, or who's making the first move?
Yeah, once again, there is no one generic answer to this. It really depends upon who the business is. So if you think about a business which is an e-commerce site, then just being able to kick off conversations on their website is what they probably care about most, right? If you're thinking about some verticals which are very focused and very, customer service is a big thing for them, right? Then it's that department which is thinking about how they can use Messenger to either increase customer satisfaction or decrease call center agent costs, by bringing about efficiencies. If you think about it, but the same company or other companies, insurance, or traditionally, if you look at, hey, these are the verticals that really care about generating leads, then it's the marketing department that's reaching out to us and then trying to figure out how they can use our products to generate leads. So it really depends upon who the customer is, what their needs are, and then there are very interesting geographical splits to it as well. So, in short, we're seeing it across all different functions.
Okay, well, I think that brings us to a close. So, brilliant conversation. It's very, very insightful. Great to have Becca giving us the customer story as well. And Ankur, after 5 months, you credit to Facebook. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining. Thank you two again for your participation. And to the viewers, I'll say enjoy the rest of the virtual event. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.